Welcome to Bivena Audio. This channel is a home for audiobooks and spoken books across ideas, life, work, and reflection, shared calmly and without rush. In this recording, you are invited to listen slowly, without pressure to remember or perform. Simply allow the words to move at their own pace and take what stays with you. Let's begin.
Welcome to Chapter 1 of How to Save Money Even When You're Broke. Simple daily habits anyone can start today. In this chapter, we'll explore Chapter 1, Understand Where Your Money Actually Goes. If money feels like water slipping through your hands, the first step is to see the holes in the bucket. You're not imagining it. Modern life hides a lot of small costs that quietly add up. This chapter helps you spot those invisible leaks, run a quick, no-judgment expense check you can do in 10 minutes, and recognize the 3 common traps that wreck budgets. The goal isn't to shame you. It's to make what's happening obvious so you can start making small changes that matter. The invisible leaks draining your wallet. Think about the last week. Maybe you bought coffee a few times, paid a late fee on a bill, ordered dinner because you were exhausted, or kept a streaming service you never watch. Each of those feels small. Alone, none is dramatic. Together, they can cost a month's worth of groceries over a few months. Invisible leaks fall into a few predictable groups. Convenience costs, one-click orders, food delivery, cab rides, or convenience stores. They save time or stress, but often at a large markup. Recurring subscriptions, free trials that turn paid, second streaming accounts, cloud storage, apps. A few forgotten subscriptions can be $30 to $100 a month. Fees and penalties. Bank fees, overdrafts, ATM charges, late payments. These are pure loss and often repeat. Impulse small purchases, snacks, impulse clothing, app purchases, and in-store temptations. These are emotional reactions, not planned spending. Transportation and energy waste. Unnecessary trips, inefficient routes, or leaving lights and heat on. They're easy to overlook but add up. Recognizing these categories is the first step. You don't need to eliminate everything. The point is to find the leaks that matter for you and plug them without changing your life completely. The 10-minute expense audit. You don't need fancy tools to start. The 10-minute expense audit is a quick habit that gives you a snapshot of where money goes. Do it at the end of each day for a week, or once a week if daily feels too much. Here's a simple way to run it. Gather what you have. Look at receipts, recent bank or card transactions, and your memory of cash spent. If you use cash a lot, keep your receipts or jot notes on your phone. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Be strict. The goal is a fast overview, not perfection. List every expense. Put them in 3 columns: needs, wants, fees. Needs are must-pay items like rent, utilities, groceries. Wants are non-essentials like takeout, streaming, or hobby supplies. Fees are bank or late fees. Circle surprises. Anything that feels like a mystery or a repeating small cost gets circled. This helps you spot patterns over time. Pick one target. Choose the one small change that would give you the most immediate relief. A subscription to cancel, a fee to avoid, or one convenience purchase to cut back on. 10 minutes each day or week gives you awareness and momentum. You'll start to notice patterns that weren't clear before. Keep it simple. Consistency beats perfection. The 3 expense traps and how to identify them. Many people fall into the same 3 traps. They're not moral failings. They're ordinary reactions to stress, convenience, and unclear priorities. Spotting which trap you fall into helps you choose a practical fix. 1. The convenience trap. You pay for time and ease. Delivery fees, ride-hailing instead of public transit, and microwave meals fit here. These feel like the price of keeping your life moving. To spot this trap, look for repeated purchases that save time but cost more than planning or small effort. Ask, could I batch tasks? Could I swap one delivery a week for a cheap meal plan? 2. The subscription creep trap. Services stack up slowly. A free trial becomes a paid plan, and a forgotten account keeps charging. To identify it, scan your monthly statements for smaller recurring payments. If you're unsure what a charge is for, follow up. Usually you'll find services you don't use. 3. The stress spend trap. When life is hard, spending feels like relief. Coffee, comfort food, and impulse buys spike when you're tired or worried. Track your spending on days that feel rough and compare to your calmer days. If spending surges on stressful days, That's your cue to build small substitutes: a short walk, a free comfort routine, or a non-spend ritual. Once you can name the trap you're in, you can choose one realistic action. For convenience, plan one low-effort swap. For subscriptions, cancel one. For stress spending, pick one non-spend substitute you like and try it for a week. Wrap up. Awareness is the foundation of change. These simple steps help you see leaks you missed, get a quick regular picture of your money, and identify the traps that make saving feel impossible. With this clarity, the rest of your plan becomes easier. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. Start small, notice what changes, and keep moving forward. 1.1. The invisible leaks draining your wallet. Small costs hide in plain sight and quietly take your money. This section helps you spot the common categories where cash slips away: convenience purchases, subscriptions, fees, and tiny impulse buys, so you can choose a few practical plugs instead of trying to fix everything at once. Convenience costs. Convenience costs are the little purchases you make to save time or stress: food delivery, quick rides, one-click shopping, and convenience store runs. Each charge might be $5 to $15, which doesn't feel like much in the moment. When those choices repeat several times a week, they become a significant drag on your budget. To spot them, scan the last 2 weeks of your card and cash spending. Highlight frequent small charges that replace something you could have planned, like a takeaway dinner instead of a simple cooked meal, or a short taxi ride instead of a bus trip. Seeing the pattern helps you decide what to change first. Try a few low-effort swaps. Batch cook 1 or 2 meals, walk or bike for short trips, bundle errands to avoid multiple outings, or set a weekly convenience budget. You don't need to eliminate every convenience. Pick one repeat cost to reduce and test it for 2 weeks. Small adjustments add up. Fixing one habit that costs you $10 a few times a week can free up money faster than you expect, without feeling like a sacrifice. Recurring subscriptions. Subscriptions creep up quietly. Free trials roll into paid plans, and forgotten accounts keep charging under different names. Individually, these monthly fees are small, but together, they can equal a grocery trip or utility bill. Create a short list of every recurring charge you see on statements, including app names and amounts. Ask yourself whether you used each service in the last month. If not, cancel or pause it immediately. For unclear charges, follow up with the provider. You'll often discover automatic renewals or family accounts you forgot. If you want to keep a service but cut cost, downgrade the plan, share access with a trusted household member, or switch to a cheaper provider. Set a calendar reminder to review subscriptions every 3 months so nothing slips through again. Even canceling 1 or 2 needless subscriptions can free predictable cash. Treat this as recurring found money you can redirect into savings or essentials. Fees and penalties. Fees and penalties are pure loss: overdraft charges, late payment fees, ATM surcharges, and maintenance fees. They usually result from timing, uncertainty, or account rules most people never read. Because fees are predictable, they're some of the easiest leaks to stop. Start by listing any fees you've paid in the last 3 months. Identify recurring patterns: missed due dates, repeated ATM usage, or account minimums. Many fees come from simple timing errors. A small alert can prevent a large charge. Practical fixes include setting automatic payment reminders, using a no-fee ATM network for a month, moving to a low or no-fee account, or calling your provider to request a one-time waiver. Often, customer service will remove a first-time fee if you ask politely. Reducing even one repeated fee creates immediate breathing room in your cash flow. Think of fee prevention as low-effort, high-impact saving that protects money you already earned. Impulse small purchases and energy waste. Impulse buys and energy waste are easy to overlook because each event costs little. Snacks, in-app purchases, impulse clothing, and leaving lights or chargers plugged in rarely feel like a budget issue until they pile up. They're usually driven by emotion, habit, or convenience. Track these for 1 week. Jot down every small purchase and note what you were feeling or doing when you bought it. Do the same for energy habits. Record times you left lights, heating, or electronics on unnecessarily. Patterns will reveal triggers: boredom, stress, or a dark hallway that always gets lit. Replace automatic reactions with tiny routines. Carry a water bottle and snack to avoid impulse buys. Set a phone out-of-hand rule during grocery trips, or create a 1-minute shutdown checklist for evenings to unplug devices and turn off lights. These swaps cost little or nothing but change behavior. Over time, they trim hundreds of dollars and make your home more efficient without adding stress. 1.2. The 10-minute expense audit. You don't need a spreadsheet to start fixing your budget. The 10-minute expense audit is a quick, repeatable habit that gives a clear snapshot of where money goes. Do it daily for a week or weekly forever. The goal is steady awareness, not perfect accounting. Gather the basics fast. Start by pulling up recent bank and card transactions and gathering any receipts you still have. If you used cash, check your wallet or a small notebook where you jot purchases, or open the Notes app on your phone. The goal isn't to chase every penny. It's to capture the regular, repeatable items that shape your month. Keep this step quick. Spend 2 to 3 minutes assembling evidence and resisting the urge to analyze immediately. Treat it like clearing the table before you cook. Having everything in one place makes the rest faster and less stressful. Over time, this routine becomes frictionless. You'll begin to recognize typical patterns: weekly grocery runs, daily coffee stops, or a subscription that pops up each month. That recognition is more valuable than perfect tracking because it tells you where to focus your limited energy. Set a strict 10-minute timer and sort. When your 10-minute timer starts, work quickly and honestly. Create 3 columns labeled needs, wants, and fees. Needs are essentials: rent, utilities, groceries. Wants are non-essentials: takeout, streaming, hobby items. Fees are bank or service penalties. Don't overthink individual items. The purpose is a fast snapshot. Classify each line in your transactions and move on. Keeping the pace prevents perfectionism from derailing the habit and makes the audit repeatable. By enforcing the time limit, you build a low-pressure habit you can repeat daily or weekly. Small, frequent snapshots beat rare, exhaustive audits because they reveal patterns when they're new and still changeable. Mark surprises and small repeats. As you sort, circle anything that feels unfamiliar or that you didn't expect. Also mark small repeated charges, the sneaky subscriptions, occasional delivery fees, or regular $5, $10 purchases that add up. These are the invisible leaks that quietly drain your cash. Seeing the same charge across multiple audits is a clear signal to act. A single surprise might be a mistake. A repeated small cost is a pattern you can change. Make a short note next to the item. Investigate, cancel, or reduce. Over a few audits, these marks map where your money truly goes, not where you imagine it goes. That clarity turns vague frustration into targeted actions that are easy to test and adjust. Pick one tiny target and end each audit by choosing one small practical change to try for a week. It could be canceling one subscription, skipping 2 takeout meals, avoiding ATM fees, or batching errands to cut rideshare trips. Keep the target specific and achievable. Run the experiment and record what you save. A short test shows whether the change is realistic and worth keeping without forcing a permanent sacrifice. It also builds confidence. Small wins create momentum and make larger adjustments feel possible. If the test fails, treat it as data, not failure. Tweak the approach and try another 1-week experiment. Repeating tiny, successful changes produces steady savings over time and reinforces the habit of looking for improvement instead of perfection. 1.3. The 3 expense traps and how to identify them. Most people fall into one of 3 common traps: paying for convenience, accumulating subscriptions, or emotionally spending under stress. Naming your trap makes it easier to choose one practical action to reduce its impact. 1. The convenience trap. The convenience trap shows up as small, frequent charges that buy time or avoid hassle. Delivery fees, ride-hailing, or paying extra to skip a short task. These purchases feel reasonable in the moment because they reduce friction, but repeated small premiums quickly add up. To identify it, scan your transactions for recurring one-off charges, multiple deliveries, several short cab trips, or last-minute convenience store stops. Ask yourself whether those costs would vanish if you grouped tasks into a single trip or prepared once for the week. Fixes should be low effort and realistic. Batch errands into one outing, pick a single no-delivery day each week, or schedule one simple meal prep night that covers a few dinners. Use a short checklist or calendar reminder so planning becomes automatic, not extra work. Even swapping 2 delivery runs a week for a home-cooked meal can free up meaningful cash without feeling like sacrifice too. The subscription creep trap. Subscription creep hides in plain sight. Small monthly charges under unfamiliar names, free trials that rolled into paid plans, or services you signed up for on impulse. Individually, these fees are easy to ignore. Together, they form a steady drain. Spot them by reviewing bank and card statements for any repeating charges, especially amounts under $20. Check app stores, streaming services, and email inboxes for sign-up confirmations. If a charge looks unfamiliar, follow up. Many subscriptions are forgotten rather than malicious. Address this by canceling or downgrading one subscription this week. Consider consolidating similar services, one streaming plan instead of 2, or sharing family plans. Set a quarterly reminder to audit recurring payments so the creep can't restart. Small, regular checks stop these charges from becoming permanent leaks. 3. The stress spend trap. The stress spend trap is emotional. When you're tired, anxious, or overwhelmed, you buy small comforts, coffee, snacks, impulse online purchases, to feel better. These purchases are coping tools, not planned expenses, and often spike on tough days. Identify it by tracking purchases alongside a simple mood note for a week. Write tired, stressed, or fine next to transactions. If non-essential spending rises on rough days, you've found the pattern. Replace the reflex with a low-cost substitute, a 10-minute walk, a favorite playlist, a 5-minute breathing exercise, or a quick call with a friend. Add a short pause before purchase. Rule: set a 10 or 30-minute delay for non-essential buys. Practice the substitute for a week, and note how often the urge passes. Small alternatives reduce spend without removing comfort. That concludes Chapter 1. Join us in the next chapter as we continue our journey through how to save money even when you're broke. Simple daily habits anyone can start today. Welcome to Chapter 2 of How to Save Money Even When You're Broke. Simple daily habits anyone can start today. In this chapter, we'll explore Chapter 2, Build a Savings Plan that Works on Any Income. Most savings advice uses percentages and big numbers that make people with tight budgets feel hopeless. This chapter gives a different path. Start with small fixed amounts that you can actually save. Learn the first $5 rule that trains your habit, and set up simple automation without extra apps or bank fees. Saving is about building routines, not hitting a perfect number. Forget percentages. Start with fixed small amounts when your paycheck barely covers essentials. Hearing that you should save 10 or 20% feels out of reach. Instead, choose a fixed, small amount you can consistently save. The size doesn't matter as much as the habit. Think $5 or $10 or $20 every pay period. Those amounts are reachable and reduce the mental barrier to starting. Why fixed amounts work better for low incomes. Predictability. You know exactly what to set aside, which makes planning easier. Scalability. As your finances improve, you can slowly increase the fixed amount. Psychological wins. Small, consistent wins build confidence and reduce the resistance that kills big commitments. Start by choosing a realistic amount you can save every payday. Put it aside immediately when you get paid. If your paycheck is unpredictable, pick a day-based habit. Set aside $5 on every paycheck day or every Friday. The exact math matters less than having a reliable routine. The first $5 rule. The first $5 rule is simple. Treat saving the first small amount as the priority. When you get money, move your first $5 or your chosen small amount into your savings before you spend anything else. That creates a mental boundary. Some money is always off limits. How to make the first $5 rule stick. Decide on the amount. $5 is the starting point because it's small and manageable. If $5 is too much or too little, adjust. The goal is consistency. Keep it accessible but separate. A separate envelope, a small savings jar, or a separate savings account works. The physical act of moving money helps reinforce the habit. Celebrate small wins. When your jar hits $50, notice the progress. Small rewards help maintain momentum. The real power of the first $5 rule is mental. It changes how you treat new money. Not everything is for spending. That tiny habit grows your confidence to save larger amounts later. How to automate savings without apps or bank fees. Automation removes choice and makes saving almost effortless. but some banks charge fees or require minimums. Here are hands-on ways to automate savings without extra costs. Use your employer's payroll split. If available, ask payroll to deposit a small fixed amount into a separate account. Even $5 a paycheck adds up. Two-account strategy. Open a secondary checking or savings account at the same bank with no-fee rules. Transfer your small fixed amount on payday. If your bank charges, look for online banks with no fees and easy transfers. Envelope method with a twist. If you prefer cash, take your small amount in cash and move it into a labeled envelope or jar each payday. Then deposit those funds into a savings account monthly to avoid ATM fees. Auto transfer rule. Set an automatic transfer the day after payday. Make it small enough to go unnoticed. If your bank offers a roundup feature that costs nothing, use it to move spare change into savings automatically. One important tip: avoid accounts with withdrawal limits that trigger fees. The goal is easy access when a real emergency occurs, but enough friction to stop impulse dips in the early stages. Wrap up. You don't need a big income to start saving. Fixed small amounts, the first $5 rule, and low-cost automation create a reliable foundation. The important part is consistency. These habits let you build a safety cushion over time without dramatic sacrifices. Start small today and let the habit grow. 2.1 Forget percentages. Start with fixed small amounts. When money is tight, percentage-based rules feel out of reach. This section shows why a fixed small amount is easier to stick with and how that tiny change makes planning simple. The point is to build a habit you can keep, not to hit an ideal percentage today. Predictability helps planning. Knowing you will save a fixed amount makes your budget less stressful. Instead of guessing what 10% means this month, you know exactly what to move aside. That removes mental math and makes it easier to decide what's left for bills, groceries, and transport. When you set a precise dollar figure, say $5, $10, or $20, you create a predictable cash flow. Predictability helps you schedule payments, avoid overdrafts, and plan small treats without guilt. It also reduces decision fatigue. Fewer choices about how much to save means more energy for other priorities. Practical tip: write your fixed amount on your paycheck calendar or label an envelope. Treat it like a mandatory line item. Over time, the certainty you build makes day-to-day money decisions feel calmer and more manageable. Example: if you're paid weekly, saving $5 4 times equals $20 in a month. A modest buffer that prevents last-minute scrambles and helps you forecast ahead. Small amounts add up. Saving $5 or $10 regularly won't feel like a sacrifice, but it grows faster than you expect. Small amounts add up because of repetition, not because each deposit is large. When you make a reliable habit, weekly, bi-weekly, or on payday, those small sums accumulate into a meaningful cushion over a few months. For example, putting $10 aside every 2 weeks becomes about $260 a year. That won't solve major debts, but it covers many common emergencies: a car repair, a missed bill, or a temporary rent gap. It also reduces stress because you have choices instead of scrambling for quick loans or high-fee options. To keep momentum, track progress visibly. Use a jar with labels, a simple spreadsheet, or a calendar checkmark. Celebrate milestones like $50 or $100 to reinforce the habit. When you get a small windfall, gift, refund, or extra shift, consider directing a portion to this fund. Those occasional boosts accelerate the effect of steady deposits. Start where you are and scale up slowly. Pick an amount you can honestly keep every payday. If $5 feels comfortable, that's your starting line. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. Starting small removes the guilt and makes the habit sustainable when your budget is tight. When your income changes, like a raise, overtime, or a tax refund, use simple rules to increase savings slowly. Add a fixed increment, for example, $5, or raise the amount by a modest percent only when you're confident you won't create a shortfall. Small, predictable increases are easier to maintain than sudden large jumps. You can also link increases to milestones. After 3 months of consistency, add $2. After a year, add $5. Automate these changes if possible, or set calendar reminders to review. Scaling gently avoids burnout and preserves the psychological wins that keep saving a lifelong habit. Also, don't use scaling as an excuse to increase lifestyle spending. Keep raises partly for savings and partly for life improvements so progress isn't erased by new habits. practical setup you can do today. Decide whether you will save each paycheck, every Friday, or another dependable day. Pick a routine you can follow without thinking. If you're paid weekly, use that cadence. For a regular income, choose a fixed day like Friday or the 1st, and commit to moving the amount then. Make it simple. Label an envelope, create a savings folder in your online bank, or open a second no-fee account. If you prefer cash, withdraw the small amount and place it in a jar immediately. For digital transfers, set a calendar reminder to move the money the day after payday so bills clear first. Treat the action as mandatory. Write it on your budget as a non-negotiable line item. If you miss a transfer, don't punish yourself. Reschedule it within the same week. Finally, review your rule monthly for 3 months and tweak only if it consistently fails. Small practical setups reduce friction and make saving automatic. 2.2 The First $5 Rule. The first $5 rule flips the priority. Before you spend anything, protect a tiny part of what you just received. This creates a psychological boundary that says some money is always off limits. The habit matters more than the dollar amount. Choose a realistic starting amount. Pick a number you can reliably save without stress. For many, $5 is small enough to be routine and large enough to feel like a real step toward saving. If $5 would force you to skip a bill or a meal, start with $1 or even 50 cents. The point is consistency, not theatrics. Think of this as a habit primer. The goal is to make saving non-negotiable, so it must fit your current life. Write down the amount and treat it like a bill you pay yourself. If your income fluctuates, choose a per paycheck or per day amount rather than a percentage. Predictability matters. Finally, be kind to yourself. Starting too high leads to quick burnout and gives saving a negative connotation. Start low, build faith in the routine, and remember that dozens of small deposits add up. The first win is creating the habit. Larger amounts can come later when you've proven consistency to yourself. Make the action immediate. Timing is everything. When you receive money, whether a paycheck, a side gig payment, or cash, move the first $5 immediately. Delaying creates opportunities for impulse spending, and once that money is gone, the intention to save rarely survives the day. Immediate action can be simple. Drop cash into a labeled jar, transfer $5 to a separate account the moment you log into online banking, or set your phone reminder to move the money as soon as payment clears. The physical motion of moving funds reinforces the mental commitment. Consistency is easier when the action is automatic and tied to a trigger. Payday, Friday, or any recurring moment. Over time, you'll stop viewing saving as an optional chore and start treating it as the first natural step whenever money arrives. That reflex is the habit you want to build. Create a visible signal of progress. Visibility keeps motivation alive. Use a clear jar, a labeled envelope, or a dedicated account with an obvious nickname so you can see the balance grow. Visual cues turn abstract savings into tangible progress, making it harder to dismiss your efforts as insignificant. Check the jar or account weekly and note small milestones, $20, $50, $100. When you hit a milestone, acknowledge it with a simple non-spending reward. A sticker on a chart, a short celebratory note, or a moment to mentally mark the achievement. This reinforces the behavior without costing money. If you prefer digital, screenshot the balance each week or use a spreadsheet with a progress bar. The important part is frequent, visible feedback that reminds you saving is working. Those little signals build pride and keep you going when the goal feels distant. Let the rule scale with your confidence. The first $5 rule is a training tool, not a lifetime cap. After a few months of consistent saving, consider small, manageable increases, an extra $1 or $2, rather than doubling the amount overnight. Gradual growth preserves the habit while improving outcomes. Use milestones to decide when to scale, maybe when you hit $50 or complete a month without missing a transfer. Scaling should feel like a natural next step, not a punishment. If a higher amount ever feels stressful, drop back to your starting number until the routine feels secure again. As your confidence and cash flow improve, the habit becomes resilient. The mental boundary you built around that first small amount makes raising the stake painless. Over time, those steady increases compound into meaningful savings without the drama of drastic budget overhauls. 2.3 How to automate savings without apps or bank fees. Automation removes the need to decide each time and makes saving nearly effortless. You don't need fancy apps or costly accounts. This section covers simple, low-cost ways to move money out of reach so it becomes a habit, not a choice. Payroll split when available. Many employers can split your direct deposits so part goes to a separate account. Ask payroll if they can send a fixed amount, say $5 or $10, into a second account each payday. This happens before you see the money, so it never competes with bills or impulse buys. The beauty of payroll split is reliability. It's automatic, free, and durable across pay cycles. Even a tiny amount piles up surprisingly fast, and because it's taken out by your employer, it removes the temptation to spend that first chunk. If your employer can't split deposits, ask if they can issue regular payroll advances to a savings account, or consider combining this method with an auto transfer on payday. Communicate clearly. Many payroll teams are used to simple requests and can make this a low-effort, high-impact change. Keep records so you know what's diverted each period and adjust the amount as needed when your budget changes. Two-account strategy. Open a separate no-fee account to act solely as your savings bucket. Keeping money in a different account creates friction between seeing cash and spending it, which helps prevent impulse withdrawals. Look for accounts at your current bank that have no monthly maintenance fees or an online bank with free transfers. Schedule a small fixed transfer the day after payday so the money is less tempting. Make the amount modest, something you won't notice in your daily flow. Over time, that consistency builds a cushion without changing your lifestyle. If your bank imposes minimum balance rules or withdrawal limits that trigger fees, choose an account elsewhere. Many online banks offer free instant transfers and no minimums. Label the account clearly as savings to reduce accidental use. Every few months, review transfers and raise the fixed amount slightly if you can. Small increases compound, and the habit matters more than the number. Envelope method with a twist. The envelope method works even in a digital world. When you withdraw cash, immediately separate your chosen savings amount into a labeled envelope or jar. The physical act of moving bills builds discipline and makes the saved money feel real and protected. To avoid frequent fees, deposit the accumulated cash into a no-fee savings account once a month. Set a calendar reminder for the deposit day after payday each month. That keeps you from carrying too much cash and still preserves the separation. Use envelopes for categories you want to protect: emergency cushion, holiday, or a small buffer for variable bills. If you're uncomfortable with cash, print labels and keep a digital log of amounts so you track progress without needing an app. The twist? Combine envelopes with a monthly transfer. After depositing, transfer those funds into a linked savings account and let interest or stability do the rest. Small routine, big payoff. Auto transfer rules that avoid fees. Set an automatic transfer for the day after payday to move a small fixed amount into savings. Timing matters. Moving money before bills clear reduces the chance you'll spend it. Keep the amount low enough to avoid overdrafts, but consistent enough to build balance. Use your bank's free Roundup feature if available. Roundup moves spare change into savings each transaction, so you save without noticing. Confirm there are no micro fees. If the feature costs anything, it can erase those tiny gains. If your account charges maintenance or transfer fees, shop for alternatives. Many online banks offer free transfers and no minimums. Also, set limits on withdrawals from the savings account to add mild friction against impulse spending. Finally, document the transfers and check monthly statements. Small automated moves are powerful, but mistakes, wrong amounts, or double transfers happen. Regular checks protect your balance and keep automation working smoothly. Thank you for listening to Chapter 2.
Before we continue, if you find this reading helpful, you're welcome to subscribe to Bivina Audio for more audiobooks and spoken books across ideas, life, work, and reflection. Now let's continue.
You're listening to Chapter 3 of How to Save Money Even When You're Broke. Simple daily habits anyone can start today. Today we're covering Chapter 3, Daily Behaviors That Instantly Lower Spending. Most of your financial leaks happen in daily decisions: what you eat, how you get around, and small routines you repeat without thinking. This chapter gives simple techniques you can use right now. The pause before purchase technique to break impulse buys, practical fixes for food spending, and micro habits that add up to real savings without feeling like punishment. The pause before purchase technique. Impulse spending is rarely about the item. It's about the feeling you want to manage. The pause before purchase technique interrupts that reflex. The rule is straightforward. Whenever you feel the urge to buy something unplanned, wait a set amount of time before completing the purchase. Choose a time that works for you. A common option is 24 hours for non-urgent items and 1 week for bigger wants. For tiny impulse items, even a 5-minute pause reduces the likelihood of buying. Use a quick checklist while you wait. Do I already own something that does this job? Will this bring me noticeable value in a week or a month? Could I borrow instead of buying? Practical tools to make the pause easy. Turn off one-click buying on online stores, flag emails from retailers for later, or uninstall shopping apps you use for impulse buys. The pause creates space for a calmer decision. Often you'll find the urge fades and you avoid a purchase you won't miss. Why food costs ruin most budgets. Food is a frequent and emotional expense. When you're tired, stressed, or short on time, eating out becomes the default. That convenience comes at a high price. You can reduce food spending without losing the pleasure of eating well. Start with a few realistic moves. Plan one less takeout meal each week. If you normally order every Friday, aim to cook or reheat something simple twice a month and build from there. Batch basic staples. Cook a batch of rice, beans, or roasted vegetables on a weekend. They become quick, inexpensive bases for meals during the week. Use a grocery list with prices. Estimate costs while you shop so you avoid surprises. Set a soft total and stick to it. Swap single-serve buys for bulk where it makes sense. Bulk is cheaper for staples like oats, pasta, and frozen vegetables. Buy smart, not extravagant. Another low-effort move. Choose one convenience you can replace with a lower-cost habit. Instead of a daily $3 coffee, brew at home twice a week and bring a thermos on 2 days. Over a month, it can add up to real savings without feeling like deprivation. Micro habits that stack into real savings. Micro habits are tiny actions you can repeat daily. They're painless but powerful because they compound. Here are micro habits that are easy to start and immediately check your bank balance once a day. A quick look keeps you in control and prevents accidental overdrafts or double charges. Carry a reusable bottle and snack. Cut down on impulse purchases when you're out and hungry. Set a 1-minute tidy routine for receipts. Keep receipts in an envelope or take a photo. It makes the 10-minute audit faster. Turn off unused lights and electronics. Small energy savings lower bills over time. Plan a no-spend block each week. 4 hours or a full day without buying anything can reset habits and save money. Pick 2 micro habits and practice them for a month. Micro habits are low friction and build confidence, which makes you more likely to tackle bigger changes later. Wrap up. Daily choices shape your financial reality. Using a short pause to break impulses, smarter food habits that protect your time and taste, and micro routines that reduce waste gives you quick wins. Small steps, repeated, become a new normal that frees up cash without making life miserable. 3.1. The pause before purchase technique. Impulse buys are usually about a feeling, not the item. The pause before purchase gives you breathing room to let that feeling fade so you can make calmer choices. This short habit stops reflex spending and helps you decide what's actually worth your limited cash. How the pause works. The pause before purchase works by creating a short break between the impulse and the action. Instead of buying immediately, you choose a waiting period based on the item's cost and urgency. 5 minutes for tiny temptations, 24 hours for small wants, and a week for larger non-essential purchases. The purpose is simple: interrupt the automatic buy and forget loop so the emotional spike that drove the urge can fade. Most urges weaken quickly once you give them a little space. Often the item loses its shine or you realize it doesn't fit your needs. Using different wait times matches the emotional intensity to the real cost. A 5-minute pause stops many small buys. 24 hours cuts most casual online orders. A week gives you time to compare, check the budget, or find a cheaper alternative. Start by picking one standard rule and practice it for 2 weeks. Track avoided purchases as wins. They quickly add up and make the habit stick. Simple rules to make it stick. Small barriers turn the pause from a good idea into an automatic habit. Start by removing conveniences that let you buy without thinking. Turn off one-click checkout, log out of shopping sites, and uninstall or hide impulse-prone apps. Each friction point forces a conscious step before payment. Maintain a single list for wants. Use a notes app or a small notebook. When you feel the urge, add the item there and commit to revisiting it after the pause. Flag marketing emails instead of acting on them. Schedule a daily 10-minute review to scan your wish list. Making the process predictable reduces decision fatigue and keeps you accountable. Celebrate small wins. Note each avoided buy and estimate the money saved. Seeing progress reinforces the habit, and small rewards, a free treat or an extra saved dollar added to your mini cushion, keep motivation high. Questions to ask during the pause. A short checklist helps you move from emotion to logic. Ask practical questions to decide if the purchase deserves your limited cash. Do I already own something that does this job? If yes, consider repairing or repurposing before buying. Small fixes often cost far less than replacements. Will I still want this in a week or month? Time is a great filter. Many desires fade quickly, and future you is a better judge of value than current impulse. Can I borrow, swap, or rent instead? For items used rarely, these options save money and clutter. Even borrowing from a friend or using community resources can solve the need. Is this purchase aligned with my short-term priorities? If it pulls money from essentials or your tiny savings habit, it's likely not worth it. Answering these questions honestly makes the pause effective. If several answers point toward no, delete the item and count the saved money as a small win toward your cushion. When to allow exceptions and protect progress. Rigid rules fail because life is messy. Build clear, limited exceptions so the pause doesn't block real needs. Emergency repairs, health items, or pre-planned gifts. Define what counts as an exception and write it down. That prevents vague justifications and helps you stick to the rule when temptation is strong. Protect your progress by measuring outcomes. Track how many purchases you delayed or avoided, and estimate the money saved. This feedback keeps the habit motivating. If you slip, treat it as data, not failure. Review what triggered the purchase and tighten one small rule. Maybe increase the pause time or add another barrier. Finally, protect your wins by automating small savings from avoided purchases. Move a few dollars weekly into your mini cushion as an immediate reward and reinforcement. Over time, these protections turn a short habit into a permanent pattern that saves money and reduces stress. 3.2. Why food costs ruin most budgets. Food is a repeat expense that hits every week and often triggers emotional or convenience spending. Small choices add up fast, but practical swaps can reduce costs while keeping meals enjoyable and low stress. Recognize the triggers. Fatigue, time pressure, and stress are the top triggers that push most people toward takeout. When you're worn out after work or rushing between errands, the quickest option looks like the only option. Notice when and where you usually order food. Commuting mornings, late work nights, weekend errands, or after a long meeting. Once you map those moments, you can plan small substitutions. Start a simple tracking habit for a week. Note the time, mood, and reason for buying food. This only takes seconds and reveals patterns fast. If you see tired, say 8 p.m., or no groceries plus Saturday repeat, add a tiny countermeasure. Pre-packed leftovers in the fridge, a frozen emergency meal, or a snack stash in your bag. Awareness turns reactive purchases into manageable decisions. One change rules that actually work. Big overhauls fail because they demand willpower you don't have. Instead, pick one small, specific swap. Skip one takeout meal per week, brew coffee at home twice a week, or bring a thermos on busy days. These single changes are easy to follow and build momentum without feeling restrictive. Choose a concrete replacement for each swap. If you skip Friday takeout, commit to reheating a favorite batch meal or assembling a quick bowl from prepped staples. Track just that one change for 4 weeks. When it becomes routine, add another small rule. Habit stacking, linking a new change to something you already do, makes this stick. Small wins compound into noticeable savings without stress. Batch staples and smarter shopping. Batch cooking staples like rice, beans, roasted vegetables, and a simple protein makes weekday meals fast and cheap. Spend an hour on the weekend cooking 2 or 3 base items. portioning them into containers you can combine in different ways: rice, beans, salsa, roasted veggies, pasta, or grain bowls with a protein. This reduces the temptation to order because a decent meal is already minutes away. Shop with a list that includes rough prices and a soft total. Compare unit prices and favor store or bulk sizes for true savings on staples. Avoid wandering aisles and use the freezer to store portions you won't eat within a few days. Small planning steps cut both cost and stress while keeping meals varied and satisfying. Keep comfort without overspending. You don't need bland meals to save money. Tiny upgrades make home food feel special. A splash of a favorite sauce, a fresh herb, grated cheese, or a citrus squeeze can transform a simple dish. These low-cost touches satisfy cravings that often lead to ordering out. Plan one modest treat each week: a bakery item, a special spice, or a small dessert. Budget it in so it's a planned pleasure rather than an impulse. Also, create dining rituals at home. Light a candle, use a special plate, or play music to mimic the restaurant experience. These small comforts reduce the urge to spend on convenience while keeping meals enjoyable and sustainable. 3.3 Micro habits that stack into real savings. Micro habits are tiny, repeatable actions that take little effort but add up fast. Pick 2 you can do today and stick with them for a month. Those small wins build confidence and free up cash without pain. Check your balance daily. Checking your bank balance daily takes 1 minute but saves you hassle. Make a habit of a quick glance each morning or evening so you know what's available before you plan the day. This tiny routine prevents accidental overdrafts and helps you spot unfamiliar charges while they're still easy to address. Use a simple method that won't tempt you into browsing purchases. Enable a balance notification, open your bank's landing screen, or use a widget that shows only the number. Don't turn it into obsessive tracking. One clear look is enough. When you notice small recurring payments or a pattern of fast spending, jot it down. Those notes turn into concrete steps during your weekly reset. Cancel subscriptions, move money into a small savings bucket, or add a short pause before purchases. Over weeks, this 1-minute habit builds awareness and stops the slow leaks that erode your budget. Carry a refillable bottle and snack. Carrying a refillable water bottle and a simple snack is a tiny habit with surprisingly big payoff. When you're out and hungry or thirsty, convenience stores and vending machines tempt small purchases that add up over a week. Having water and a snack ready removes that immediate trigger and keeps both money and energy in your pocket. Choose compact, durable items. A basic insulated bottle and snack options like nuts, a granola bar, or fruit. Prep the snack the night before or pack an extra portion from home when you cook. If you commute, stow the bottle in your bag so it's always accessible. Besides saving money, this habit supports healthier choices and reduces food waste from impulse buys. Track how many times you avoided a purchase for a month and multiply by the typical cost. Those numbers are motivating. Over time, the habit becomes automatic, cutting dozens of small expenses without any sacrifice to your convenience. Tidy receipts in under a minute. Keeping receipts organized takes less than a minute and makes tracking spending painless. Choose a simple system: an envelope, a small folder, or a dedicated note on your phone. Each time you get a receipt, slip it in or snap a photo and label it briefly if needed. Do this immediately so receipts don't pile up in pockets or mail. The habit removes friction from your weekly or monthly audit because everything is already together. When you sit down for a quick review, you won't waste time hunting for missing purchases or guessing dates. This routine also helps identify recurring small costs and merchant errors fast. Put a short tag on any receipt you want to question, and during your review, follow up with the vendor or your bank if something looks off. Over a month, the 1-minute habit saves time and frustration, and it gives you clear data to make better choices. Save with energy and no-spend blocks. Reducing small energy wastes and scheduling regular no-spend blocks are easy ways to shave costs. Start by turning off lights, unplugging chargers, and powering down idle electronics every night. Those tiny actions lower your monthly bills and create a mindset of conserving resources. Next, pick a no-spend block each week, a few hours or a whole day, when you commit to buying nothing. Treat it like a mini challenge. Plan a free activity such as a walk, a library visit, or a homemade movie night. Enjoying low-cost alternatives keeps the block from feeling restrictive. Combine these habits by using the no-spend time to reset other routines. Check for unused subscriptions, tidy receipts, or prep meals for the week. Start small and track the money you avoid spending. Seeing the number grow is motivating. Put a recurring reminder on your calendar and treat the block as non-negotiable. This wraps up Chapter 3. Stay tuned for more insights in the upcoming chapter. Chapter 4. Chapter 4. The 30-Day Cash Reset. Let's dive into this important topic. When you need a quick financial reset, a focused month of simple actions can make a huge difference. The 30-Day Cash Reset breaks the month into 4 weekly tasks: awareness, correction, control, and stability. It's not about extreme cuts. It's about making clear choices for 30 days so you can finish the month with more clarity, fewer surprises, and a realistic plan going forward. How to choose your must-pay expenses. Start the reset by listing your absolute essentials. These are items you must cover first. When you're tight, honoring these priorities keeps you afloat and reduces stress. Must-pay essentials usually include rent or mortgage, utilities, heat, water, electricity, food basics. Minimum payments on loans where missed payments create major harm. Transportation that you need to get to work. Write these down and total them. If your paychecks are unpredictable, use a 30-day projection based on past months. When you focus on must-pay items first, you make smarter choices with any leftover cash. The temporary cutback strategy. Week 2 focuses on temporary cutbacks. Short-term changes you can maintain for 30 days without feeling crushed. The idea is to free up a small amount of cash fast. Examples of temporary cutbacks. Pause non-essential subscriptions for 30 days and list what you miss. Set a 2-week no-eating out rule, then allow one planned treat at the end of the month. Reduce utility use by a few degrees and track the difference. Carpool or shift to public transit a few days to cut fuel costs. Keep a simple log of what you change and how much you estimate you've saved. These aren't forever punishments. They're experiments to find durable, low-stress adjustments. What to track for 30 days. Tracking is not about guilt. It's about information. For the reset, track 3 things. Every dollar spent, use a notebook or a single Notes app entry. Write date, amount, and category. Keep it quick. Energy and transport choices. Note big shifts like fewer trips, different routes, or temperature changes applied to the home. Mood and triggers. Briefly record when you spend due to stress or convenience. Knowing the triggers helps you plan alternatives. At the end of each week, review what you tracked for 5 to 10 minutes. Celebrate small wins and pick one adjustment for the next week. By day 30, you'll have a clear picture of leaks you can fix, long-term and short-term changes that worked without breaking your life. Wrap up. The 30-Day Cash Reset is a short, practical plan to create breathing room when money is tight. It's about making choices you can live with, not punishing yourself. 1 month of focus gives you the clarity to build better habits that last. 4.1. How to choose your must-pay expenses. Start week 1 by getting clear about what you absolutely must cover. This short exercise helps you protect the essentials first, so small shortages don't turn into big emergencies. Spend a few minutes listing what keeps your life and income running. Then use that list to guide every decision for the month. List the true essentials. Start by writing a short list of items you absolutely must pay this month to avoid major harm. Include rent or mortgage, core utilities, heat, water, electricity, basic groceries, minimum loan or credit payments that carry penalties, and any transportation costs required to get to work. Keep the list tight, only things that if skipped lead to eviction, shutoffs, or job loss. Once the list is written, add brief notes next to each item. Amount due, due date, and the minimum you need to stay current. This helps you see which bills are fixed and which can be adjusted. Treat this list as your protection priority for the month. Every other spending decision should be measured against it. Keep this list handy during the 30-day cash reset and check it when tempted to spend. It's a simple safety net that prevents small shortfalls from turning into big emergencies. Use a 30-day cash projection. A 30-day cash projection turns uncertain pay into a simple map. Start by listing expected paychecks and dates based on the past month or two. Don't guess wildly. Use exact amounts when possible. Then subtract your must-pay essentials to see what remains. This projection shows whether you'll cover basics and where shortfalls may appear. Be realistic about timing. Many problems happen because money arrives after a bill's due date. If a paycheck lands late, note which obligations it will actually cover. Also include any irregular income or known one-time expenses like car repairs or medical copays. Keep the projection flexible. Update it if payments change. Treat it as a working tool for the month, not a promise. Using this simple map reduces panic and helps you make calmer, smarter choices about small spending and holds. Order your list by consequence. Once you have your essentials listed, rank them by consequence. What happens if you miss a payment? Put items that cause immediate and severe harm, eviction, losing access to work, vehicle repairs that stop your commute, at the top. These are your non-negotiables during the 30-day cash reset. Lower on the list belong items that are necessary but more replaceable short-term, like premium groceries, streaming subscriptions, or optional insurance add-ons. Label each item with a short consequence note: eviction, late fee, delay okay. This quick tag helps you make fast decisions when cash gets tight and stress would otherwise cloud your judgment. When unexpected costs appear, consult your ranked list instead of reacting emotionally. If a new expense collides with a top-tier item, adjust the lower-ranked ones first to prevent small surprises from becoming emergencies. Decide where flexibility exists. Identify one or two essentials that have built-in flexibility. Examples include swapping high-cost grocery items for cheaper staples, delaying a non-urgent bill that has a known grace period, or temporarily reducing discretionary transport, fewer rideshares. Clearly mark these as adjustable on your essentials list so you can access small amounts of cash quickly without risking major harm. For each flexible item, note the limit of the adjustment and any consequences. For example, cutting variety from meals is fine short-term, but not long-term if it affects nutrition. Shifting a payment should only be used if a grace period prevents late fees. Having these rules in writing makes them easier to follow under stress. Use flexibility strategically. Combine two small adjustments rather than one big cut to spread discomfort. When the month ends, review how these temporary changes felt and keep only the ones that are sustainable and comfortable. 4.2. The temporary cutback strategy. Week 2 is about short, practical changes you can keep for 30 days. These are experiments, not permanent punishments. The goal is to free small amounts of cash fast while testing what you can live with for longer. Pause. Non-essential subscriptions. Stopping or suspending subscriptions for 30 days is one of the fastest ways to free up cash without pain. Start by listing every recurring charge: streaming, apps, memberships, trial services. And note the monthly total. For a month, either cancel or put each non-essential service on hold and keep a simple log of what you miss and why. Use the pause as research time. If a service feels essential, consider downgrading or sharing a plan with a trusted friend or family member. Check for annual billing that can be renegotiated or switched to a cheaper plan. Don't forget to disable auto-renew alerts and set a calendar reminder to reassess after 30 days. At month's end, total the saved amount and reflect on value versus cost. Many people find they didn't miss much and simply reallocate that cash to must-pay items or an emergency cushion. Treat this as a temporary experiment that reveals which subscriptions truly add value and which quietly leak money. Cut eating out, but plan one treat. Committing to a 2-week no eating out rule is a practical short-term cutback that reveals real savings. Start by planning simple meals you already know: pasta, stir-fries, sandwiches, or hearty salads, and shop for a handful of staples to make cooking easier. Batch cook when possible and use leftovers for lunches to avoid midweek impulse buys. Make the plan manageable by scheduling one modest treat at the end of the 30 days. That reward keeps morale up and makes the restriction feel like a choice, not a punishment. If social outings are important, swap expensive restaurants for potlucks, picnics, or coffee meetups at home. Track typical costs of your usual takeout versus your home-cooked meals to see the difference. This short experiment teaches cost-effective meal routines and proves you can enjoy food and social life without constant spending. Use the saved cash to boost your mini emergency cushion or cover a must-pay expense. Trim utilities in small steps. Small changes to energy and water use can add up without sacrificing comfort. Lower your thermostat by 1 or 2 degrees, wash clothes in cold water, shorten showers by a few minutes, and unplug phone chargers and small appliances when not in use. These gradual shifts are easier to maintain than sudden drastic cuts. Simple actions like switching to LED bulbs, using a power strip for entertainment centers, and running full dishwasher or laundry loads increase efficiency with little effort. If possible, set a schedule for heating or cooling to avoid running systems while you're asleep or away. Track habits for the 30 days and note any impact on your comfort. Estimate savings by comparing bills or using rough per-item savings. Shorter showers, 1-degree thermostat change, fewer tumble dryer cycles. Even modest monthly reductions free up small sums that compound over time, and the experiment helps you find sustainable adjustments you can keep long-term. Change transportation patterns briefly. Adjusting how you travel for just a few weeks can noticeably lower fuel and maintenance costs. Try carpooling with coworkers, combining errands into one trip, or using public transit for designated days. Even swapping 2 solo commutes for a bus or train can cut fuel use and reduce wear on your vehicle. Plan routes carefully to reduce back and forth driving and consider walking or biking short trips. These save money and boost health. If you use ride-hailing occasionally, compare costs with transit for each trip and choose the cheaper option during the 30-day period. Track mileage, fares, and any parking fees to calculate actual savings. Short-term changes reveal realistic long-term options. You may find a hybrid routine. Mixing driving, transit, and carpools delivers steady savings without major inconvenience. Add the money saved to your weekly review and decide which transportation swaps are worth keeping after the reset. 4.3. What to track for 30 days. Tracking during the reset is about getting facts, not guilt. Focus on 3 simple things that reveal where money goes and why you spend. Keep the routine quick so you'll stick with it. Every dollar spent. Recording every dollar is the foundation of the 30-day cash reset. Use a small notebook or a single Notes app entry and log the date, amount, and a short category like food, transport, or subscription. Keep each line quick. This is about completeness, not perfection. Choose simple categories and abbreviations so entries take seconds. If you forget a few items, add them later that day rather than letting the list pile up. Rounding tiny amounts is fine when it speeds you up, but don't skip repeat small purchases. They add up fast. At the end of each day, glance through your list and flag surprises. Those flagged items become your targets for the next week. Over 30 days, this habit turns vague money worries into clear data you can act on, revealing patterns you wouldn't see otherwise. Also, it gives concrete wins you can celebrate and share when you need encouragement. Energy and transport choices. Energy and transport are prime areas to log changes because small shifts often produce consistent savings. Each time you deliberately alter behavior, lowering the thermostat a degree, shortening a shower, carpooling, or taking public transit, jot the action and an estimated daily or weekly saving. Even rough figures help. Record the baseline, what you normally do, the change, and your estimate. For example, thermostat at 2 degrees, or carpool 3 days, 10-10 week. Those simple notes create a clear before and after you can look at during reviews. After several weeks, compare estimates to see which adjustments actually move the meter. Some small sacrifices are high value and worth continuing. Others aren't worth the hassle. The goal is to find realistic changes that save money without making life harder. Mood and spending triggers. Recording mood and triggers helps you understand why you spend. When you make an impulse purchase, write a brief phrase like stressed, coffee, bored, snack, or tired, ordered dinner. Keep it short. The point is to capture the trigger, not to analyze it in the moment. After a few days, patterns will appear. Certain times, tasks, or emotions may lead to predictable spending. Use those notes to create tiny alternatives. A 5-minute walk, a quick homemade snack, or a water and breathe pause, and try one for a week to see if it reduces that trigger spend. This mood log converts vague emotions into actionable targets. Over 30 days, you'll reduce impulse purchases by addressing specific moments, and you'll build a list of simple coping swaps that actually work for you. Weekly 5-minute review. Set a quick 5-minute weekly review to keep momentum without adding stress. Pick a consistent slot, Sunday evening or right after payday, and scan your notes. Add up estimated savings, count flagged surprises, and note repeat triggers or costly categories. Use this short session to pick one clear priority for the coming week. Maybe extend your no eating out rule, test a different commute, or cancel one pause subscription. Write that single goal at the top of your notes so it stays visible each day. Celebrate one small win from the week, even if it's just resisting an impulse. Recognition sustains motivation. By day 30, these weekly check-ins will reveal measurable progress and a clearer plan, which leaks to seal, which temporary cuts to keep, and which changes weren't worth continuing. That concludes Chapter 4. Join us in the next chapter as we continue our journey through how to save money even when you're broke. Simple daily habits anyone can start today. You're listening to Chapter 5 of How to Save Money Even When You're Broke. Simple daily habits anyone can start today. Today, we're covering Chapter 5, Build Your Emergency Cushion from Zero. An emergency cushion feels out of reach when you're starting from zero, but even a tiny buffer changes everything. It reduces stress, prevents costly borrowing, and gives you options when life surprises you. This chapter explains why many people struggle to save for emergencies, where to keep your first small cushion, and practical ways to protect it from impulse spending so it actually serves its purpose. Why most people fail at emergency funds. Emergency funds fail for a few common reasons. Understanding them helps you avoid the same traps. No plan for starting small. People expect to save a big amount fast and get discouraged. Starting with a tiny goal is more effective. Easy access equals easy spending. If your cushion is as easy to tap as your checking account, temptation wins. Some friction helps, no purpose or rules. Without clear rules for what counts as an emergency, the money gets used for non-urgent wants. Immediate pressure. When something urgent happens, people dip into savings for anything. Defining real emergencies keeps the cushion available for true needs. Fixing these issues is mostly about structure and rules. Define a small starting goal, create a simple rule for access, and label the money clearly. These steps protect the cushion from everyday pressures. Where to keep your mini cushion? Choose a place that balances safety, access, and a small amount of friction. Here are sensible options. Separate savings account at your bank. If it has no fees and no minimums, this is a good choice. Transfers can be quick, but still require a small step. Online high-yield saver. These often have no monthly fees and pay a little interest. Transfers might take a day or two, which adds friction against impulse use. Physical cash envelope. For some people, a labeled envelope in a safe place works. It's visible and psychologically real. Be cautious about safety and theft. Prepaid card with savings feature. If it's fee-free and reliable, it can be a practical option. Avoid ones with hidden charges. Start with what's simplest and least risky for you. The key is to actually get started. If that means a small envelope or a free online account, that's fine. You can always move the money later once the habit is in place. How to protect it from impulse spending. Protection is a mix of habit, rules, and small friction. Try these tactics. Label your cushion clearly. Call it emergency cushion and keep that reminder in front of you so it's psychologically off limits. Set an access rule. Only use it for defined emergencies like medical bills, car repairs that prevent work, or essential home repairs. Non-urgent wants are not allowed. Introduce withdrawal friction. Keep the money in a slightly less convenient place so casual dips become harder. An online transfer that takes 2 days or a jar in a locked drawer creates useful friction. Replace impulse with an alternate action. If you're tempted to spend the cushion, do a 2-day pause and a checklist. Is this necessary? Could I cover it with payment plans or a temporary cutback? Celebrate when you resist. Each time you choose not to touch the cushion, note it. Small positive reinforcement builds discipline. Once your cushion reaches a small target, say 250 or 500, you'll notice less panic during small emergencies. From there, keep adding small amounts each payday. The goal isn't a massive fund overnight. It's steady, protected growth. Wrap up. Building an emergency cushion from zero is about simple rules and small steps. Pick a realistic starting target, store the money where it's protected but accessible, and set clear rules for when to use it. Over time, the cushion becomes a safety zone that protects you from high-cost borrowing and frees you to make better financial decisions. 5.1. Why most people fail at emergency funds. Most people want an emergency fund, but give up before it starts. The problem isn't willpower alone, it's how the goal is set, where the money sits, and the rules or lack of them around using it. Fixing those basics makes saving realistic, even on a tiny income. Start too big and get discouraged. When the goal is set at $1,000 or more from the start, it can feel impossible. That sense of overwhelm often leads to doing nothing, waiting for a perfect payday that never comes. Instead, pick a tiny first target like $100 or $250. Small wins are powerful. They prove the system works, build positive momentum, and change your identity from someone who can't save to someone who saves a little. Make the first victory simple and visible. Decide an easy method: a $5 transfer each payday, a daily coin jar, or rounding up purchases, and treat the target as non-negotiable for a month. After you reach it, celebrate briefly, then set the next small goal. This incremental approach removes pressure and keeps the habit steady. It makes saving repeatable, realistic, and less emotionally draining over time. Too easy to access means easy to spend. When your cushion lives in the same checking account you use every day, it loses its purpose. Accessibility removes the pause that stops impulse decisions. Adds small friction. Move money to a separate savings account, open an online saver where transfers clear in 24 to 48 hours, or use a jar locked away. These steps aren't about punishment. They're about giving yourself a moment to think before money leaves the cushion. Friction doesn't block true emergencies. It simply forces a short decision window. That window helps you ask whether the expense truly qualifies or can be handled another way. People who add even a small barrier withdraw significantly less for non-essentials. Start with one change today. Even setting automatic transfers once a week or keeping the cushion in a different bank creates enough distance to protect it. Over time, that small barrier saves more than you'd expect. No clear definition of emergency. If you haven't written down what qualifies as an emergency, you'll end up rationalizing almost any expense. Vague just in case thinking turns the cushion into an all-purpose fund. Create a short, specific list. Examples: essential medical bills, vehicle repairs that prevent you from working, urgent home fixes that avoid further damage, or replacing a necessary appliance. Keep the list to a few items and post it where you manage money. When temptation hits, consult the list. If the expense isn't on it, delay for a review period. 2 days is enough to reduce impulse use. If it's borderline, ask whether using the cushion avoids a higher cost outcome or preserves income. Revisit the definition occasionally. As your life changes, update what counts. Having a clear, written rule removes gray areas, reduces argument with yourself, and keeps the cushion focused on real safety rather than wants. Starting plan missing or too vague. A common reason people never build a cushion is that their plan is fuzzy. "I'll save more" isn't a plan. You need specific actions tied to your routine. Choose one simple, repeatable method. Fix a small dollar amount each payday, stash spare change daily, or set a weekly $5 transfer. Make the action automatic where possible, so it doesn't rely on willpower. Measure progress in small wins rather than long timelines. Track the balance weekly, celebrate hitting mini milestones, and adjust if something isn't working. If transfers fail because of fees or minimums, switch to a low-cost alternative like a cash envelope. The goal is consistency. Even tiny, regular deposits build the habit and the cushion. Write the plan down and review it monthly. Seeing the steps keeps you accountable and realistic. 5.2. Where to keep your mini cushion. Choosing where to hold your first cushion matters. You want safety, a tiny amount of hassle to prevent impulse grabs, and no fees that eat your progress. Pick the option that matches your personality and keeps the money out of daily reach. Separate savings account at your bank. Use a savings account, separate from your checking if it has no fees and no minimums. Transfers typically require one extra step, which adds a useful pause and helps prevent casual spending. That separation also keeps your cushion insured and ready when a real emergency arises. Label the account clearly in online banking, emergency cushion or mini cushion, so you don't mistake it for everyday savings. Make one small, regular transfer that fits your budget. consistency matters more than the amount. A tiny weekly contribution builds the habit faster than a vague promise to save someday. Check the account rules for withdrawal limits or transfer delays so you understand access timing. If your bank charges fees or enforces minimum balances, seek another fee-free option. Once the habit sticks, consider increasing the transfer slightly or automating deposits on payday to keep growth steady. Online high-yield saver for a bit more friction. Online banks often offer slightly higher interest and low or no fees. The extra interest won't transform your finances overnight, but it helps the cushion grow quietly. More importantly, transfers to and from online savers usually take a day or two. Exactly the kind of friction that discourages impulse withdrawals. Think of the transfer delay as a built-in safeguard. That short wait gives you time to reconsider purchases and often stops non-urgent spending from becoming an emergency breach. Treat the delay as a feature, not an inconvenience. Before you choose one, verify FDIC insurance, fee schedules, and transfer limits. Confirm how quickly funds return to checking and whether mobile access is reliable. Then start small and automate a modest recurring transfer. Over months, the habit plus small interest will strengthen your cushion without pain. Cash envelope for a tangible start. Physical cash can be surprisingly effective for some people. Putting your mini cushion in a clearly labeled envelope makes it visible and psychologically real, which helps resist digital temptation and accidental card purchases. Store the envelope in a safe, discreet place, locked drawer, shoebox, or mini safe, to reduce theft risk. Only keep a modest amount this way so loss won't be devastating. Use cash for very small emergency needs rather than storing large sums at home. Treat the envelope like an account. Track deposits and withdrawals on a simple paper log and set clear access rules. Consider a 2-day pause before opening it for non-critical reasons. If you later open a bank account, you can deposit the cash periodically for added safety while keeping the habit of topping the cushion. Prepaid or separate savings feature on a card. If you prefer card-based solutions, a prepaid card or an account with a built-in savings jar can work well. These let you keep cushion funds off your main debit or credit card while still providing access when a true emergency occurs. Read the fine print carefully. Look for no monthly fees, no per-transfer charges, and transparent rules about reloads and withdrawals. Hidden fees can quickly erode a small cushion, turning convenience into cost. Use the savings feature like any other cushion. Label it, set access rules, and avoid mixing it with everyday spending. If the card links to your main account, ensure transfers back to checking aren't instant. A small delay adds helpful friction. Test with a small amount first to confirm the process is secure and fee-free. 5.3 How to protect it from impulse spending. Protection mixes simple rules, small friction, and a few habits that change how you respond to urges. The goal is to make dipping into the cushion feel like a deliberate, unusual action, not the default when something pops up. Label it and remind yourself why it exists. Give your cushion a clear, visible name like emergency cushion, and put that label where you'll see it often. A simple sticky note on your wallet, a folder name in your online banking, or a note taped to a jar turns an anonymous pile of cash into a defined purpose. Seeing the label triggers the intention you set when you started saving. Along with the label, write a short list of approved uses and keep it near the money. A 2-line reminder, e.g. medical, car repair to get to work, urgent home safety, helps you decide quickly when tempted. It removes mental ambiguity and makes it easier to say no to non-essentials. This small, visible ritual creates a psychological boundary. When you habitually see the label and rules, the cushion shifts from an abstract idea to a protected resource, which reduces emotional spending and makes it easier to respect the fund over time. Create a short access rule, decide in advance who can use the cushion, what counts as an emergency, and any approval steps required. Keep the rules short and specific. 3 to 5 clear items are best. For example, only for medical bills, car repairs that prevent work, or urgent home safety issues. Defining rules ahead of time removes emotional pressure during real stress. When a problem arises, you won't be debating whether it feels like an emergency. You'll check the rule and know the right move. If a situation isn't on the list, commit to finding alternatives like a payment plan, borrowing a small amount from a friend, or using a temporary cutback. Share the rule with a trusted person if that helps. An accountability partner can help enforce the line between true emergencies and everyday wants. A short, written rule makes the cushion predictable and protected. Add withdrawal friction. Make accessing the cushion slightly inconvenient, so impulsive withdrawals become less likely. Use a savings account that requires online transfer taking a day or two. Place cash in a labeled jar tucked away, or lock it in a small safe. That tiny barrier gives you time to reconsider impulse urges. Even a 48-hour delay often kills the sudden sense of urgency. When a need feels pressing, the delay forces you to ask critical questions and often discover alternatives. Friction doesn't mean denial. It means creating a moment to think before spending. If you use digital tools, avoid instant transfer options, or set a withdrawal habit that requires 2 steps, the goal is a deliberate process. Withdrawals should feel like a meaningful choice, not a reflex. This small structural change goes a long way toward protecting your cushion. Use a pause and check checklist. Create a short checklist you follow before touching the cushion. Keep it to 3 quick questions. 1. Is this an approved emergency? 2. Can this wait 48 hours or be handled another way? 3. Can I cover it with a payment plan or temporary cutback? Run through this sequence whenever you feel tempted. The checklist gives your rational brain time to catch up with the emotional reaction. Often the urgency fades after a pause, and you find a cheaper solution or an alternative source. Make the checklist easy to access. Store it on your phone, wallet, or near the cushion itself. Practicing the pause builds a habit. The first time it's awkward, but after a few uses, the checklist becomes automatic. That tiny delay prevents many unnecessary withdrawals and preserves the cushion for true needs. Reward small wins to build discipline. Celebrate each time you resist using the cushion for a non-emergency. Mark it on a calendar, log a small note in your phone, or give yourself a tiny non-monetary reward like an extra episode of a favorite show. These small acknowledgments reinforce the behavior you want to keep. Positive reinforcement trains your brain to value restraint. Over weeks, noticing these wins builds confidence and reduces the stress that makes you want to tap the cushion. You'll begin to see protecting the fund as an achievement, not a denial. Set simple milestones: 5 resisted urges, a month without non-emergency withdrawals, or reaching a small target amount, and celebrate them. These rituals turn discipline into a habit and make long-term protection of your cushion much easier. That concludes Chapter 5. Join us in the next chapter as we continue our journey through how to save money even when you're broke. Simple daily habits anyone can start today.
A brief pause. If this audiobook has been meaningful so far, you may consider subscribing to Bivina Audio, where new spoken books and thoughtful readings are shared regularly. Now, we return to the text.
You're listening to Chapter 6 of How to Save Money Even When You're Broke. Simple daily habits anyone can start today. Today we're covering Chapter 6, the 7-Day Savings Challenge. The 7-Day Savings Challenge is a short, doable sprint designed to create momentum. Each day has one clear action that's easy to complete and provides immediate savings or insight. The challenge builds confidence and gives you quick results you can build on. After 7 days, you'll have small wins, clearer priorities, and the tools to keep going. Day-by-day action steps. Day 1. Do a 10-minute expense audit. Write down everything you spent in the last 3 days. Circle one recurring small cost to cut this week. Day 2. Apply the pause before purchase for the full day. If you feel like buying something unplanned, wait 24 hours. Note what you saved by waiting. Day 3. Choose a food swap. Make one meal at home instead of ordering and count the difference. Plan an easy batch meal for the next 3 days. Day 4. Cancel or pause one subscription you rarely use. If you're worried about losing it, pause first and set a reminder to reassess in 30 days. Day 5. Implement the first $5 rule. Move $5 into your cushion or jar, even if it's tight. Mark it as untouchable. Day 6. Do a no-spend block for 4 hours or a full day if possible. Use the time to plan low-cost activities you enjoy. Day 7. Review your week. Add the money you saved, list what felt doable, and pick 2 habits to continue next week. How to evaluate results. At the end of 7 days, you want facts and feelings. Total the cash you saved and list the habits that were easiest and hardest. Ask yourself 3 questions. What saved the most money with the least pain? What caused the most stress or felt unsustainable? Which 2 habits do I want to keep for the next month? Use your answers to build a simple plan. Don't try to keep everything. Focus on the 2 habits that give the best return on effort and stick with them until they feel normal. What to continue long term? After the challenge, keep these core practices. Daily or weekly quick audit. Spend 5 to 10 minutes reviewing recent spending to stay aware. First $5 rule. Continue setting aside a small fixed amount each payday. Pause before purchase for non-essentials. Keep the waiting rule to stop impulse buys. Monthly subscription check. Once a month, review recurring charges and cancel what you don't use. Monthly mini review. A short check-in to adjust plans, move savings, and celebrate progress. The goal is steady improvement. Use momentum from the challenge to grow your cushion slowly. Small wins add up fast when you repeat them. Wrap up. The 7-Day Savings Challenge is a quick way to build confidence and discover sustainable habits. It proves that small, deliberate actions can free up money and make saving feel realistic, even when you're tight on cash. 6.1 Day-by-Day Action Steps. The 7-Day Savings Challenge gives you 1 clear action each day so you can build quick wins without a big time or energy commitment. These steps are practical, simple to track, and designed to show immediate results. Treat each day as a tiny experiment. Note what works and what feels realistic for your life. Days 1 to 2. Awareness and the pause. Day 1 is about clarity. Spend 10 minutes writing every purchase from the last 3 days. Include the amount, place, and why you bought it. Don't judge yourself. The goal is visibility. Seeing the small, repeated costs on paper makes it easier to spot the tiny leaks that add up. Circle 1 recurring small cost to cut this week. A daily coffee, a delivery fee, or a subscription add-on. Choosing only 1 change keeps this realistic and prevents overwhelm. Small wins build momentum faster than big, unsustainable rules. Day 2 puts the pause before purchase into practice. For any non-essential impulse, wait 24 hours and note whether the urge passed or turned into a real need. Keep a simple log in your phone or on a sticky note. Together, these 2 days reveal patterns and give you an immediate, low-effort tool to stop money from slipping away. Day 3. Food swap and simple meal planning. On day 3, pick 1 meal you usually buy and make it at home instead. Aim for an easy, familiar recipe, pasta, rice bowl, or scrambled eggs, and cook enough for at least 1 extra portion to use later. This single swap shows how small changes compound when repeated. Track the cost difference between the meal you would have bought and the one you made. Save that amount mentally or in a jar so you can see the real impact. Batch cooking 1 meal reduces future decision fatigue and temptation to reorder. Also, spend a few minutes planning an easy batch meal for the next 3 days. A little planning prevents last-minute convenience spending and makes eating at home far less stressful. The goal is practical, painless savings that fit into your week. Day 4. Cancel or pause 1 subscription. Day 4 focuses on recurring drains you may have forgotten. Scan your subscriptions for something you rarely use, an extra streaming service, a premium app feature, or a food delivery pass. These charges often slip by unnoticed and bite into a tight budget. If the provider allows, pause the subscription to see how you feel without it for 30 days. If pausing isn't an option, cancel and note the savings for the coming month. Set a calendar reminder to reassess in 30 days in case you genuinely miss it. This step removes ongoing cost with minimal effort and virtually no lifestyle pain. Often you'll find the money freed up pays for something more valuable to you or goes straight into your small emergency cushion. Days 5 to 7. Build the habit and review. Day 5 introduces the first $5 rule. Move $5 into a jar or separate spot and mark it untouchable. Even tiny amounts teach your brain to protect savings and create a psychological win. Treat this as habit practice, not a hardship. On day 6, try a no-spend block for at least 4 hours, or aim for a full no-spend day if possible. Use the time to plan low-cost activities, prep meals, or tackle a small home project. No-spend blocks reveal how often impulses happen and how manageable they are. Day 7 is a quick review. Total your cash saved, list which steps were easiest and which felt hard, and choose 2 habits to continue next week. Focus only on the 2 highest return habits so progress stays realistic and sustainable. 6.2. How to evaluate results. After 7 days, you want both numbers and feelings. Evaluation helps you keep what works and drop what doesn't. This section gives simple, low-stress questions and measurements to judge the real value of the challenge and to decide what to keep. Count the clear savings. Start by adding up the obvious dollars you didn't spend during the week, the cost of the meal you cooked, the subscription you paused, the $5 you tucked into your cushion, and any impulse buys you avoided. Write each item down and total them. Seeing a number, even if it's small, turns vague good intentions into concrete progress. Put that total somewhere visible. A sticky note on the fridge, a note in your phone, or a jar with a label. Make this a weekly habit so you can watch the amounts grow. When you track these small wins consistently, they become proof that tiny changes add up faster than you expect. Finally, celebrate the total in a low-cost way. A small treat at home or a moment of recognition. That positive feedback helps reinforce the behavior and makes it more likely you'll repeat the actions that created the savings. Track time and effort. Not all savings are equal. Some cost you a lot of time for little return. Note how long each action took and how much mental energy it required. For example, did the homemade meal take 20 minutes or an hour? Did pausing a purchase feel easy or constantly nag at you? Create a simple 2-column note, one column for minutes spent, the other for dollars saved. Over several days, you'll spot patterns, which quick actions gave the best bang for your time and which were inefficient. Prefer the moves that save relatively more money with less time input. Also think about frequency. A small time investment that becomes a recurring habit is often worth more than a one-off effort. Use this insight to prioritize the practical, low-effort swaps that you can sustain week after week. Check emotional impact. Money moves aren't just numbers. They carry feelings. After each action, jot down how you felt. Relieved, anxious, deprived, proud. Did pausing a purchase reduce stress or increase it? Did canceling a service feel freeing or like a loss? Emotional reactions predict whether a change will stick. Be honest. If something saves money but causes regular anxiety or resentment, it's unlikely you'll maintain it. Conversely, small wins that boost confidence or remove friction deserve to stay. Use brief notes rather than long journals. A sentence or two after each action is enough to capture the mood. Finally, adjust based on feelings. Tweak actions to reduce stress. Pause instead of cancel. Pick easier meals. And combine savings with small rewards. The goal is sustainable habits that protect your money and your well-being. Choose 2 habits to continue. After you've tallied savings, time, and feelings, pick the 2 habits that offer the best mix of dollars saved, low effort, and positive emotional impact. Limiting yourself to 2 keeps the plan doable and prevents overwhelm. Commit to practicing them for the next month. Make the habits stick by attaching them to daily routines. Put your $5 jar by your keys or run a 10-minute audit every Friday night. Set simple reminders, calendar alerts, a phone note, or a visual cue on the fridge. Accountability helps, so tell a friend or set a weekly check-in. At the end of the month, review results and either keep, tweak, or replace a habit. This slow, selective approach builds momentum without demanding radical change, and it turns small actions into durable savings routines. 6.3. What to continue long-term. Use the momentum from the week to build a steady routine. You don't need to keep every single change, just the ones that fit your life. This section lists durable, low-effort practices that produce ongoing savings without feeling like a punishment. Daily or weekly quick audit, spending 5 to 10 minutes each day, or a single weekly check can stop small leaks before they grow into real problems. Keeping this habit simple is the secret. Use a notes app, a scrap of paper, or one column in a notebook. Start by scanning recent transactions and circling any repeat charges or little purchases you don't remember making. Look for patterns. Coffee runs, delivery fees, or tiny subscriptions add up fast. If you do this daily, focus on the last 24 hours. If weekly, review all transactions since your last check and total the small buys. Record one action, cancel, swap, or set a pause. This short ritual keeps you aware without feeling like bookkeeping. Over time, it trains your eye to spot leaks instinctively, so saving becomes a natural part of your routine, not a chore. It only takes minutes. Keep the first $5 rule. The first $5 rule asks you to move a small fixed amount into savings each pay period. Start with $5. The amount is intentionally tiny so it never feels impossible. Consistency matters more than size. Protecting any money builds the identity of someone who saves. Treat the $5 as untouchable. Put it in a jar, a separate account, or a labeled envelope. Each transfer reinforces the habit and reduces the mental friction of saving. When $5 becomes normal, increase slowly, maybe to $10 or $15, only when it fits your budget. The point is gradual growth, not sudden sacrifice. If you miss a step, restart the rule the next payday without shame. Over months, the routine compounds in two ways. Funds grow and your mindset shifts. Saving stops being a heroic effort and becomes a regular, manageable part of life. Use the pause before purchase. The pause before purchase is a simple waiting rule. For non-essentials, wait 24 hours before buying. For larger purchases, try a 7-day wait. That short delay breaks impulse momentum and gives you time to rethink real need. During the pause, compare prices, check return policies, and imagine how you'll feel about the item in a week. Often the urge fades and the purchase loses appeal, or you find a cheaper alternative. Make it practical. Set a reminder on your phone or write the item down in a future wants list. Treat that list as your checkout buffer. Only move items off after the waiting period and evidence they're worth it. This habit cuts accidental spending and improves decision quality without strict bans. Over time, you'll notice fewer buyer's remorse moments and more money staying in your pocket. Start with one pause a day. Monthly subscription check and mini review. Once a month, take 5 to 10 minutes to scan recurring charges. Look not only for obvious subscriptions, but for trial charges, bundled services, and annual fees sneaking onto your cards. List each subscription and ask 2 quick questions. Did I use this last month, and is it worth what I paid? If the answer to either is no, cancel or pause. Many services keep your data and settings if you pause, so it's low risk. Follow the subscription check with a short mini review. Total small savings from the month, note one unexpected expense, and set one simple goal for next month. This keeps action practical, adjusting one habit or moving a little more into your cushion. These monthly rituals prevent slow leaks and maintain momentum. They're quick, low effort, and give regular checkpoints, so saving becomes a habit, not a one-time push. That concludes Chapter 6. Join us in the next chapter as we continue our journey through how to save money even when you're broke. Simple daily habits anyone can start today. Chapter 7. Chapter 7. Your long-term money routine. Let's dive into this important topic. Intro. Saving isn't a one-time sprint. It's a routine you build and maintain. This chapter lays out a simple weekly reset and a monthly review that keep you aware and in control. With flexible, low-effort habits, you'll protect progress and avoid common backslides. These routines keep money manageable even when life gets messy. Weekly reset. A short weekly reset keeps you connected to your money without taking lots of time. Spend 15 to 30 minutes each week on these tasks. Quick balance check. Confirm your available cash and upcoming bills. Update your expense log. Add any receipts or notes from the week. Plan one meal and one low-cost activity. Meal planning reduces last-minute takeout. Plan a free or low-cost activity to avoid boredom spending. Move your set savings amount. If you haven't automated, transfer the first $5 or fixed amount now. Note one win and one lesson. Record what went well and one small tweak for next week. Consistency is more important than perfection. If you miss a week, don't punish yourself. Skip the guilt and start the next week fresh. Monthly review. The monthly review is slightly deeper. Spend 30 to 60 minutes at the end of each month to look at trends and set simple goals. Sum your spending by category. Identify where money leaked and where you succeeded. Check recurring charges. Cancel anything you no longer use. Adjust savings if possible. If you had a bit extra, add a small amount to your cushion or move it to a safer account. Plan for the next month. Mark any large bills, decide one temporary cutback to try, and pick one habit to focus on. Doing this monthly stops small problems from becoming emergencies. It keeps you ahead of bills and helps you adjust before stress builds up. How to keep yourself consistent. Habits stick when they're easy, visible, and tied to something you already do. Use these tips to stay consistent. Attach habits to existing routines. Move your savings right after you get paid or during your Sunday routine. Use visible reminders. A labeled jar, a calendar note, or a recurring alarm helps. Celebrate small milestones. Mark every $50 or $100 saved. Small celebrations fuel progress. Get accountability. Tell a trusted friend or family member about one small goal and check in weekly. Be kind to yourself. Setbacks happen. Treat them as data, not failure. Adjust and continue. Over time, these routines shift your relationship with money. Instead of constant stress, you'll have predictable rhythms that keep you aware, protect you from nasty surprises, and grow your savings little by little. Wrap up. A long-term money routine is about small, sustainable steps repeated regularly. Weekly resets and monthly reviews give you structure without overwhelming you. With simple habits, the cushion grows, confidence increases, and saving becomes part of your life, not a burden. 7.1 Weekly Reset. Spend a short, focused block of time each week to stay connected to your finances. A weekly reset keeps small problems from growing, helps you catch slips early, and makes saving a habit instead of a chore. Aim for 15 to 30 minutes, enough to be useful, not so much that it feels like extra work. Quick balance check. Start your weekly reset by taking a clear look at what's actually available. Open your bank app, count any cash on hand, and note upcoming automatic payments or scheduled transfers. Knowing the real balance prevents the common shock of an overdraft or a missed bill. Make this step quick. Aim for 3 to 5 minutes. If you use multiple accounts, jot down one combined available number and list any payments due in the next 7 days. This lets you decide whether to relax a bit or tighten spending for the next few days. If you find your balance lower than expected, don't panic. Use the information to prioritize essentials: food, rent, utilities, and transport. A brief balance check each week turns surprises into manageable details and keeps you in control instead of reacting when money feels scarce. Update your expense log. Keep a running list of what you spent during the week and where it went. Add receipts, quick notes about purchases, and tags like takeout, fees, or transport. You don't need perfection. Capture the major items and anything unusual that stands out. Doing this weekly makes patterns obvious. After a few resets, you'll spot repeat leaks: a daily coffee, subscription charges you forgot, or frequent small ride shares. These add up faster than you think and are much easier to change once they're visible. Use whatever format works: a notebook, a simple spreadsheet, or a notes app. The point is consistency. Even brief entries taken during your 15 to 30-minute reset create a history you can learn from and use to make smarter choices next week. Plan one meal and one low-cost activity. Pick a single meal to plan for the coming week and create a short grocery list for missing ingredients. Choose something simple you can cook from staples you already own. This reduces temptation to order takeout when you're tired or short on time. Then schedule one free or low-cost activity: a walk in a park, a library visit, a game night at home, or an outdoor movie. Having an affordable plan for entertainment reduces boredom spending and keeps social life intact without extra financial pressure. These two small actions prevent the most common impulsive triggers: hunger and boredom. They take minutes to plan during your reset, but can save significant amounts over time while still letting you enjoy life affordably. Move your set savings amount. Treat your chosen weekly savings, whether it's the first $5 rule or another fixed amount, as a non-negotiable item. If you haven't automated the transfer, make it during your reset. Physically moving money reinforces the habit and protects it from being spent. If automation is possible, set up a recurring transfer on payday or a weekly schedule. If not, transfer to a separate account, a labeled envelope, or a physical jar. The key is separation. Out of sight, out of spending reach. Even small weekly amounts add up and build momentum. View this transfer as paying yourself first. Over time, that simple weekly action shifts your identity from trying to save to someone who saves, which makes maintaining the habit much easier. Note one win and one lesson. End each weekly reset by recording a quick win and one lesson to apply next week. Your win can be small: a skipped coffee, a cheaper commute, or an avoided impulse buy. The lesson should be a single, specific tweak, like packing lunch twice or canceling a trial subscription. Keeping these notes takes very little time but creates a record of progress and practical adjustments. After a month, you'll see patterns and a growing list of tiny victories that prove saving is possible even on a tight budget. Use wins to motivate and lessons as experiments, not punishments. Treat setbacks as data. Why did it happen and what small change would reduce the risk next week? This mindset keeps the reset constructive and sustainable over the long term. 7.2 Monthly Review. The monthly review is a deeper check-in to spot trends and make simple adjustments. Spend 30 to 60 minutes at the end of the month looking at spending categories, recurring charges, and goals. This keeps you from being surprised by bills and helps you plan small improvements. Sum your spending by category, grouping your expenses into a few clear categories. Essentials, food, transport, subscriptions, and extras turns confusing numbers into actionable insight. Take your bank and cash records for the month and add up each category. You don't need perfect detail. A simple tally or spreadsheet is enough. Seeing a total for each area helps you spot where money is quietly leaking. Compare these totals to the previous month or two to identify creeping increases. Even a small uptick in food or transport can matter when income is tight. When you find a rising category, ask what changed. Fewer packed lunches, more ride shares, or a seasonal expense. Pick one small response, pack lunch twice a week, switch one trip to public transit, or freeze a subscription, and track the effect next month. Regularly summing categories makes small trends visible and gives you clear targets for realistic, low-effort adjustments. Check recurring charges. Recurring charges are the stealthy drains on a tight budget. During your monthly review, scan bank and credit card statements for monthly, quarterly, or annual fees. Look for forgotten trials that auto-renew, duplicate services, or low-use subscriptions that quietly add up. Cancel or downgrade anything you don't use and consider sharing or switching to a cheaper plan. If canceling feels difficult, pause the service or call customer support and ask for a retention or promotional rate. Note renewal dates in your calendar so nothing surprises you later. Small subscription savings compound quickly and often free up money for your cushion without changing daily habits. Adjust savings if possible. When you finish the month with extra cash, treat it as a chance to gently boost your cushion. You don't need a big windfall. A few extra dollars add momentum. Move any spare cash into your designated mini emergency fund or savings jar right away to prevent it from being spent on impulse. If money is tight, prioritize consistency over size. Keep your regular savings transfer the same and focus on making it automatic or part of your routine. Use small boosts after months with a bit of breathing room and celebrate the habit rather than the amount. Over time, the steady practice of setting money aside, no matter how small, creates financial breathing space and builds confidence. Plan for the next month. Use the monthly review to mark big upcoming items, rent changes, medical bills, birthdays, or seasonal costs. Putting these dates on your calendar prevents last-minute stress and helps you spread out expenses. Estimate the amount needed and plan small, specific actions, like saving $10 a week toward a bill or buying a birthday gift early during a sale. Also, choose one temporary cutback and one habit to focus on next month. For example, pause one subscription and aim to pack lunch 3 times a week. Small, intentional changes are easier to sustain than sweeping rules. By planning ahead, you avoid reactive spending, keep surprises small, and build steady progress toward a healthier financial rhythm. 7.3 How to keep yourself consistent. Sticking with a routine is about making it easy and connected to your life. Use simple tricks to make saving visible, automatic, and rewarding. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It's about repeating small actions more often than not. Attach habits to existing routines. Pair new saving actions with something you already do regularly so it becomes automatic. For example, transfer your fixed savings amount right after payday or update your expense log while you're watching a familiar TV show on Sunday night. That link between old and new cuts down on decision fatigue. Choose reliable anchors: meals, commuting, payday, bedtime, or a weekly chore. When a money task shares a cue with an established habit, it needs less willpower to happen. Start small. Attach one tiny action first, like moving the first $5 after you get paid. Over weeks, add another linked habit if it feels easy. If you miss a pairing, treat it as a tweak. change the anchor, or simplify the step. The goal is repetition, not perfection, so keep the action short and predictable until it's part of your routine. Use visible reminders. Visual cues are powerful nudges that keep saving top of mind. Place a labeled jar on the counter, stick a sticky note on the fridge, or set a recurring calendar reminder with a clear label like "Move $5." Seeing these prompts makes the habit harder to forget. Pick reminders that match your lifestyle. If you're often on your phone, a daily alarm or a wallpaper image can work. If you prefer physical cues, a simple progress chart or jar with coin levels gives immediate feedback and satisfaction. Switch reminders occasionally so they don't blend into the background. A small change, new sticker, different alarm sound, or a fresh note re-energizes your attention and keeps the habit from slipping away. Celebrate small milestones. Rewarding progress without undoing it builds positive momentum. Set modest targets like $50 or $100, then mark each milestone with a low-cost celebration, a favorite home-cooked dessert, a cozy movie night, or a tiny treat under $5. These moments reinforce good behavior. Keep celebrations meaningful, but affordable. The purpose is emotional payoff, not spending more. A quick note in a journal, a celebratory sticker on your savings chart, or sharing the win with a friend are small acts that boost motivation. Track milestones publicly if it helps. Seeing steady wins on a chart or app makes the progress real. Over time, these tiny celebrations add up into a stronger habit and a healthier relationship with money. Get accountability. Accountability turns private promises into commitments that stick. Tell a trusted friend, family member, or partner about one tiny savings goal and agree to a short weekly check-in. A simple message or 5-minute call is enough to keep you honest. Choose someone supportive who won't shame you for setbacks. Keep the check-ins short and specific. I moved $10 this week, or I cut one takeout meal. That focused update keeps the habit in your social loop without drama. If you prefer anonymity, join an online group or forum with similar goals. The key is regular, gentle contact that reinforces your intention and makes skipping less likely. Be kind to yourself. Setbacks are part of any change. Expect them and plan for them. When you miss a transfer or overspend, pause to note what happened: a bill, stress, or an unplanned event. Use that information to adjust, not to punish yourself. Replace harsh self-talk with a short troubleshooting habit. One sentence about what went wrong and one small fix to try next time. For instance, move a smaller amount first or change the timing of your transfer. Gentle persistence beats perfection. Celebrate attempts as progress, learn quickly, and keep the routine flexible. Over time, kindness toward yourself becomes a tool for consistency rather than an excuse for inaction. This wraps up Chapter 7. Stay tuned for more insights in the upcoming chapter. Chapter 8. Final Notes. Small Steps, Real Control. Let's dive into this important topic. You've done the hard part. You learned to see where your money goes, and you picked up simple tools that actually work when cash is tight. That awareness is the foundation. From here, the wins come from tiny, steady choices, not big dramatic changes. Remember the core ideas. Spot the invisible leaks with a quick audit, protect a small regular amount with the first $5 rule, give yourself a pause before purchases. Use the 30-day cash reset to get breathing room, and build a mini emergency cushion you won't touch unless it is truly needed. Those are practical moves you can use again and again. What makes the difference is keeping things predictable and kind to your budget. Small fixed amounts add up. A 1-minute balance check, a meal swap, or canceling one unused subscription is more powerful than trying to overhaul everything at once. Consistency beats intensity every time. Ready for one clear next step? Try one of these today. Do a 10-minute expense audit and circle one repeat small charge to stop this week. Move your first $5 into a jar or separate account as soon as you can. Set a 24-hour pause rule for non-essential buys and use it when the urge hits. Cancel or pause one subscription you rarely use and put the saved money toward your mini cushion. Be gentle with yourself. Setbacks happen and they are information, not failure. When you slip, note what caused it, tighten one small habit, and try again. Celebrate the small wins along the way. Mark milestones, even tiny ones, so you remember progress is happening. This book was never about perfect budgets or quick fixes. It was about giving you clear, doable habits that fit real life. Do one thing from the list today, and you will already be moving toward more control and less stress. Keep going. You can do this.
You've reached the end of this listening. If this audiobook resonated with you, you're welcome to subscribe to Vena Audio for more spoken books and thoughtful readings across ideas, life, work, and reflection. You can also explore other audiobooks available on this channel, each shared calmly and without urgency, and meant to be returned to whenever you need space to think. Thank you for spending this time here. Listen slowly, take what stays, leave what doesn't.